Beginning in relationship advice. I want to end a 10-year-long friendship with my best friend over a stick. I'm a 26-year-old female and have been friends with Abigail, 25 female, for several years. We had met freshman year and we hit it off, but for the rest of high school, she was homeschooled. I met my now fiance, 27 male, also in high school, and eventually introduced his best friend Robert, 26, to Abigail. Robert and Abigail started dating, and so we formed a small group and would always hang out together. So we all liked to go hiking and often would look at hiking gear together and go on trails. A couple weeks ago, Robert got a walking stick. He had placed it in his car and noticed that the car door was open. He drove up to me and asked me to close the door. While driving up to me, I was facing the front of the car door and could not see what was blocking the car door. I just shut it without looking like he asked me to. But then he started screaming, telling me that his new walking stick was now broken, that I snapped it in half. I started crying and apologizing profusely, telling him I was so sorry that I wasn't paying attention. I just went to close the door. I didn't even see it in there, but that wasn't good enough for him? Okay, no wait, hold up. Is Robert the literal manifestation of a dog? Do the sight of trees just blow his mind or something?
Oh my god, it's a stick factory!
Later that day, he texted me and asked me to reimburse him. I told him that I could give him a 10, but that was all. He told me that 10 was all if was worth it, but I needed to give him 50 for the trouble. I was blown away by this, and I made the mistake of telling him the date of my payday. And when that day arrived, I had forgotten all about the stick and had taken a nap after school and work. I woke up to countless text messages and multiple group chats of him telling me to pay up and that it was my payday. I then texted him directly and asked for his information, and he decided to tell me that it was,
"Oh no, it's okay, you don't actually need to pay me back."
But after he made a fool of me in front of all of my friends in every group chat that I was in with him, I still paid. Woman, you could have brought to light the absolute bullshmittery this man was accusing you of, and everyone would have been on your side. So flash forward to yesterday. My fiance, Robert, and Abigail all decide that they want to go hiking on a trail that is more dangerous than what we normally do. I decide to stay home. So the rest of the story will be a mix of what Abigail and my fiance told me. Abigail decided to buy a $100 fancy walking stick and wanted to test it out on the trail. I joked with her before going on the trail that the trail being known for being more intense, it might not be the best idea, but she didn't take my comment seriously, and I was just joking too. Hours pass, and I get a phone call from my fiance telling me that he was on the way home, and Robert was in the background screaming,
"You break it, you buy it, you break it, you buy it, you break it, you buy it."
Apparently, on the trail, Abigail's stick got stuck in a rock, and while the boys kept pushing ahead, she pulled it out and it snapped in order to catch up to them. So Abigail says that if my fiance wasn't going so fast, that it wouldn't have happened, and blamed him for breaking it. Robert obviously took Abigail's side, and for the rest of the hike, hounded on my fiance for the payment. My fiance and I are both in college, and I'm between jobs and do not have $100 to throw away on a high-end walking stick. They both know this, and that night, Abigail texted my fiance a screenshot of the walking stick, circled the price, and wrote in, "I know money is hard right now, but I need my stick, so I'm going to order it tonight, and you can pay me back as soon as you get the chance." Abigail and Robert both have stable jobs and are not in college. Where is Abigail sleeping right now? On the side of a cliff or something? Is her journey to work like up and around Mount Everest or something? Why does she need the walking stick today? I got mad and told them that my fiance would not be paying for something that he didn't break, and Abigail shouldn't have even brought the stick on that trail. They were mad and texted us endlessly saying that we were in debt to them, and that we owe them, and it was only right to pay them back. I think what made me mad most was that they, through all the years, every time we went somewhere, and I drove and paid for gas, I paid for dinners, I paid for movie tickets and outdoor activities, and they never once paid me back for any of it. I never even thought to ask them to, and here they are, yelling at us to pay up, and we're being ridiculous. Time and time again, they both have put money before friendships. Do I put this behind me and just pay them, or do I leave? Comments say, two nutjobs found each other and formed a personality from hell. Please stop interacting with them. They are so toxic to you and your fiancé. Sometimes we meet others who use us. This is what happened to you. Bye-bye, and don't let the door hit you, and say this ASAP. Hopefully that door doesn't break another stick. Over to another insane situation to be in Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for begging my girlfriend to uphold a smexist tradition just so she could make a good first impression? Yes, apparently he needed other people's opinions on this. I have a big family that's incredibly close. We have big family dinners every few months where we all meet at my great-grandfather's estate and eat together. Typically, how this works is that the women go cook for the time they're there and the men don't. I love how that's set up to imply like, yeah, this is fine, this is just how it is. Which I am fully aware, it's sexist as hell. That being said, I am one of the youngest people in the family, and my protests mean literally nothing. Some of those women choose not to cook. However, this is usually met with a level of ostracizing. The women who don't cook are relatives and long-term girlfriends, so they kinda already have a good family relationship doctored in. When I have seen new partners who don't cook, it's gone bad. Like, completely ostracized, not speaking, cattiness, rudeness, etc. This dinner will be in 2 weeks, and my girlfriend was asked if she would attend. Initially, she said yes, which is great. I want for her to meet everyone and for everyone to get used to her being around, but when I explained to her the tradition, she was understandably bothered. I told her that I understood where she was coming from. However, it was best for everyone if she just played along. I told her this isn't a permanent thing and that I am only asking her to do this so that she can avoid bad treatment from the rest of the family. This is her first impression, and I don't think it's best if we cause waves. She told me that it's unacceptable and that if she has to do that, she will not be going. I've tried to find a compromise with her on this, but she won't budge, and she's mad at me. She told me that if I think it's acceptable to make her do this, I'm just as bad as everyone else, while my point is that she needs to make a good first impression. So am I the a-hole? So this story actually has quite a contest. Nata, man, it's just cooking, and all you did was ask. It doesn't hurt anyone. I would agree to doing this in a heartbeat and would be bothered if a partner couldn't even put themselves through the most minor of inconveniences for my sake. I also find the comments asking you to burn the bridge with your family to be epic and own the patriarchy. They're just ridiculous. Honestly, I'm totally for this option. Why not ask her to help cook, but very badly, so she's never to be told or asked to do it again? I'd suggest she makes a Nutella and tomato sauce sandwich, but those things are banging and they would love it, clearly. Everyone does. Anyone who says they don't love that sort of combination are fools, and you should never believe their opinions. Someone in a successful relationship says, no a-holes here. If my now husband asked me to do this while we were still dating, I'd gladly participate. Maybe I'd become friends with some of the other gals and I'd also love to cook and bake. I'd also want to make a good impression and show I'm a team player in the family. Saying no simply because it's not equal is bullshit, because nothing in life is ever going to be 100% equal in a marriage and relationship. So yes, a lot of the people on this side believe that it's a case of, it is just this one time, you are just showing your respect for the family and the culture, tradition of sorts. It's not like they're asking you to wear some sort of weird outfit and dance for them. But the other end would argue that, this is actually kind of exactly that. After all, they're not asking for the people who can cook to cook, they're asking for the people who have genitalia of a particular kind to cook. Because apparently all the men in this family don't have the capability to turn on an oven. One of the biggest supports. So I'm a woman and my family is like this. When my boyfriend, now husband, started coming around, it drove him crazy. He would start doing things like this. Grandma, OP, please come help with the dishes. Boyfriend, oh, let me help. OP, you stay here. Oh no, honey, you're a guest. Boyfriend, already putting hands in soapy water and looking for a sponge. I bet you can guess how this turned out. The men of the family didn't even notice he was gone, and every single woman in my family absolutely adores my husband and comments that he must treat me so well. They even tell my cousins, you should get a boyfriend like him. I am very much not the favorite in my family, so it's hilarious to me that all three of my grandmas are absolutely smitten. My best recommendation to you is to take your girl girlfriend to the kitchen, have her sit down and chat with your family, and you do some dishes or food prep work. That way, she is not trying to socialize without you, her safe person being around. And her share, although she should not have a share of the work, is being covered by you. Ultimately, I think that is the main question. Opie is apparently against all these traditions, but does he go into the kitchen at all during these traditions? Does he help provide the labor at all, or does he just say, that's wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna grab a beer and drink with my fellow men. Yeah! I'm fighting the patriarchy by acknowledging it, but not actually doing anything about it. Now over to True Off My Chest, where it turns out even just trying to keep the peace can cause family-wide destruction. This three-parter began 13 days ago. I accidentally caused a war between my family and my brother's wife's family with one innocent text message. So my brother's wedding happened 2 days ago, and it turned into a complete chaos, which I know even though I wasn't there. You might wonder why I didn't attend the wedding if it's my brother's. Well, it's because of his wife's family. He did send me an invitation to the wedding because he wanted me there, but his fiancée told him I couldn't attend because I had a boyfriend. You might be confused, but I'm a man. A bi man, to be exact, and I have a boyfriend who I wanted to bring to the wedding. She said, even though she doesn't have a problem with that, and he doesn't have a problem with that, her extremely religious parents, who already forced her to do the wedding in a church, would most likely banish us from the wedding and cause trouble between our families. After she told him that my brother told me I couldn't attend and told me why. You might think I was angry. The truth is I was relieved. I hate going to big events with lots of people because of my social anxiety, and I already was used to not being able to attend certain events because of my sexuality, so it was nothing I haven't heard before. So at the day of the wedding, I stayed home with my boyfriend. It's worth mentioning my parents apparently didn't know I wasn't attending the wedding. I was chilling at home, cuddling with my boyfriend, when I suddenly got a text message from my parents asking me where I was because they couldn't find me at the wedding party. I told them I wasn't attending the wedding and if my brother hasn't told them anything. They said no and asked me what happened. I didn't see any reason to lie, so I sent them a text message telling them exactly why. Now, I have to admit I don't exactly know what happened after I sent them this message because they read it but didn't reply. And why do they care in the first place? Like, they didn't notice I wasn't there before until the wedding was already over. They only noticed when the wedding party started. However, apparently my parents talked to my brother about it, and all of a sudden my absence was the main topic of the wedding party. From what I heard, two fronts formed. On the one hand, my parents and the rest of my family against the family of my brother's wife, and apparently he, as a husband, now felt compelled to take her side and try to argue in her favor. It's crazy to think that I was just sitting at home, living my best life with my boyfriend while all of that hell went down on his wedding. The wedding party was ruined, and my brother appeared on my door, angrily screaming at me why I felt the need to ruin his wedding. I was confused and asked him what happened, and he told me everything. I told him it wasn't my intention. I just told our parents what happened because they didn't know and wanted to know where I was, and I thought he told them beforehand. He screamed at me that I ruined his wedding. I told him it's not my fault. He wasn't honest with them. I just respected their wish to not attend the wedding. I couldn't know it would go down like this because, like I said, I couldn't attend several events before because of my sexuality, and my parents never said anything about it, so I thought it would be the same thing here. But I gotta admit, it's kinda sweet that my parents and the rest of my family stood up for me. They haven't done it before. That's a more than welcome change, but I still feel kind of bad because apparently I really ruined the wedding party. What do you think though? You think that they should have worded things a bit better in an attempt to keep the peace? I feel it's valid of them to not have done so, at least based on their experience with their family. I mean, he clearly seems genuinely shocked they actually had an issue with OP not being invited due to their sexuality. As this top comment says, you didn't do anything. You just explained the situation. Every action following that was a grown-ass adult choosing their own actions. And the snowball effect landed a big-ass golden egg right on his lap as it passed by to run the wedding over. And you think the brother would protect OP in this situation about not being invited to a wedding just because, oh, what if my fiance's parents don't like it? Like, damn dude, you'll sacrifice the love of your brother just to keep getting laid by your now wife. So now we move on to the update 2 days later, where Mama Bear of OP decides to bare her claws. So after my brother's visit, his wife and him went to honeymoon, and the way the wedding party went might have been even worse than I imagined. What happens now is incredible. When I said in the main post that two fronts had formed, I only meant that metaphorically, of course, but it's no longer that. While nothing much interesting happened in the first 2 days afterwards, the terror started as soon as my brother and his wife went on their honeymoon. My mum and dad visited me and told me how the wedding party escalated, and they were so close to physical violence. I thought it was funny at first, but this truly bothers me. I also want to point that you did a great job at convincing me it's not my fault, but hearing my parents' side still gave me a bad feeling in my stomach. However, like I said, the terror started shortly after they went to their honeymoon. And when I say terror, I mean that my sister-in-law's family found both my Facebook and Instagram account and started spamming me with hateful messages. I received insults and hateful messages from various different accounts who all had one thing in common. They all had somewhat of a Christian theme, and all of them had the same last name. So it wasn't hard to find out whose accounts it was, mainly because I don't know my sister-in-law's family at all. I only know her, and I know her parents were homophobic Christians. But whatever. They not only started attacking me, they also found the account of my boyfriend over my account because we're linked as a couple, and started to send him the same messages. The messages contained on one side typical bigot stuff like, "You're burning in hell for your sins." One even called me and my boyfriend
Two devils in disguise. Ooh, that does not sound like an insult. That sounds sultry.
The other side were just blatant insults. You get the idea. I called my parents and told them what they are doing. Then I sent a text message to my brother with screenshots of the messages his wife's family sent to me, which he replied that I shouldn't disturb me with that during my honeymoon as you already destroyed my wedding party. I couldn't believe it. He was just like them. He did send me an apology after my mom told me she called him. But none of this is the main reason I'm giving you this update this early, because I got a call this morning from an unknown number. I hesitated because I thought it was one of them, and I was right, but it was none of the people who insulted me. I heard a woman's voice who introduced herself as the half-sister of my brother's wife. She said it didn't go unnoticed what her family was doing, and she wanted to apologize for them. Yeah, no. When it's this degree of harassment, you don't get to apologize on behalf of someone. No. They have to do the apology. But I told her I'm not going to tell anyone in her family about this, and that I don't blame her for her family's actions. She thanked me and hung up. I don't know why, but I have this feeling she only did this to protect her family from being reported. See, my mother wrote to me earlier that she wants to report the insults and the harassment of these people, and that she demands for my brother to divorce his wife or she will disinherit him from her will, because that's not how I raised him. It's a little radical in my opinion, but I understand where she's coming from. So yeah, this entire thing escalated so much, it's unbelievable. Thank y'all for your support on my first post. So yeah, let's just remind ourselves this all began just from responding to a text saying that, nah, I'm not going to a wedding because they don't want me there. Of course, we got the obligatory, not all Christians are like this. Like, okay, scientifically, true. But this is like saying, not all men, when we're talking about domestic abuse cases. Congratulations, you pointing out that you're a good person has added nothing to the issue. So that was 2 weeks ago, and it was just a day ago we got the final update. It's been a few days. First of all, me and my boyfriend are fine. Luckily for us, they didn't go any further than their text messages. My mum filed a report against them. I don't know the current situation about that, as I haven't filed the report myself. The reason I update you is a different one. First of all, one person in my sister-in-law's family is actually going to testify in my favor against her family. It really takes courage to do so. It's the same person that called me in the last update. Which, yeah, absolutely a big deal, especially if this is a family that would go and attack someone, even if it's just online, just for living a life that's not to their liking. Like, Why do you go out of your way to attack people like that? But anyway, you might wonder, why would this person be willing to side against her family? Well, in a tragic turn of events, somehow they found out that she is into women. No reason to hide it anymore. However, she said she's fine and is going to stay at a friend's house. I have so much respect for what she does. Like, imagine the strength you need to testify against your own family. I now feel bad for assuming she only called me to save her family from being reported. More importantly, what is the current situation with my brother? Well, my mum talked to him and told him to leave his wife or she will disinherit him from her will. He decided to stay with his wife and my mum made her threat come true. He's no longer in her will. My father did the same. When I visited them, I also told them that I wish that this entire situation went different. They assured me it's not my fault, but I feel like if it wasn't for me, then my family wouldn't be ripped apart like this. I haven't talked to my brother since then. My boyfriend feels similar. He also told me he kind of feels responsible for all this chaos. I assured him it's not his fault, but honestly, I wasn't even sure if I could say this in my position. On the other hand, it was my sister-in-law's family's bigotry that ruined everything, and everything would have been fine if I could have just attended. But now, it's time for me to grow distant to this situation. We see what the report will do. I followed your advice to document everything. The insulting and harassing messages continued until 2 days ago, so I have much to say about them. It's clear, unfortunately, that homophobia is still very much normalized in our society. I already said it in a post in my profile, but the reason I'm so calm and casual about the situation is the simple fact that I'm used to situations like this. They don't get to me anymore. If I let any insult get to me, I wouldn't have made it for such a long time. It's a coping mechanism. I've been into situations where I was sent into hospital because I kissed my boyfriend in public. So insults and harassments like theirs is nothing I haven't seen before. Honestly, considering that story we read like 2 days ago about that female couple getting arrested for kissing at a mini golf club place, I'm not surprised this person got assaulted just for kissing someone. Wow, I thought that was kind of stuff you'd only read about in like the 1970s, but nope. It's prevalent as ever. People have some theories in the comments. Your brother should be ashamed of himself. He married a homophobic witch and he's staying with her knowing what she and her family think of you. He deserves his karma with that toxic family. I'm sorry you and your boyfriend are suffering due to them. Best of luck to the future. With some reckoning that, they reckon he secretly actually agrees with their ideology of hate. I mean that, or this woman's got amazing head game that he's clearly just awestruck over her manipulative tongue in more ways than one. Don't get me wrong, I'm not for degrading women to nothing more than just how good they are in the bed, but this woman also is a homophobe, so I don't really know if she deserves that respect right now. To end things off with something rather wholesome and a bit of a win for someone who was otherwise hated in school, I won a battle for my 12-year-old self 15 years later. When I was in the 7th grade, I had a massive crush on this boy. In gym class one day, completely unprovoked, he told me I was the ugliest girl he'd ever seen. I went home and cried all night. Later that week, during a Truth Is on Facebook, his friends said I was uglier than Rosie O'Donnell. I never thought I was ugly. I definitely wasn't the prettiest, and I for sure was awkward back then. So this completely killed what little was left of my self-esteem and confidence. Fast forward to today. That same guy, now 15 years older, asked me out at a coffee shop, telling me how beautiful I was. He didn't recognize me. His friend also liked me on Hinge last month, both of which I shot down. I feel like I won a battle for my younger self, and it feels incredible. Frick you both. Now this is very sweet to see, in the long con of things, to know you got some repentance. Was it repentance? Is there an N in there? I don't know. Either way, I feel like there was a missed opportunity here. Imagine after like a few dates, you make him trust you enough that he goes all out with spending things and really treating you. Then as he's about to kiss your lips, you ask him, do you remember that girl you said was ugly in 7th grade?
Yeah?
That was me!
Oh my god!
I have the weirdest boner right now!
Now, I'm sure we can be logical about this situation, acknowledge the fact that, okay, 7th grade stupid kid is a lot different to the older, mature, well, hopefully matured man that he is now. And if you're thinking like that, then shut up! Let this person have this win! Let this person enjoy their resentment! Well, that is the end of today's video. Thank you as always for watching. Remember to drink water that's healthy for you and stuff. I love your face, and see you next time. Bye-bye.